Alright, I'm back with another Destiny 2 video. I just got my hung jury roll that I wanted after getting nothing for a very long time. I got rapid hit Firefly on my second drop, so I now can relax and just go back to actually not farming Iron Banner because it's broken with the loot drops, so I will probably just try and go for some rolls of the Splicer weapons. So that's my plan for now, but I wanted to talk about something that is going on this weekend, and you may have guessed what that is. That would be the return of Vault of Glass. I am not doing a day one race. If you know me, I don't do day one races, and I don't even raid that much, period. So I will do it once we're done with the whole day one thing. I am going to just cover it like I would a normal event, and then cover any developments that might happen along with it. And that's kind of what I want to talk about today in terms of my hopes for the raid. In terms of like the structure of the raid, I don't really have many expectations other than there will probably be champions. They will probably have given everything a ton more health, so you can't burst everything down. There are going to be wyverns. We know that. I would doubt that they would change entire boss encounters, like just make it totally something new. They might put additional mechanics in there because keep in mind this is like the first ever Destiny raid and like really the first ever raid in this genre in general. So it was a little bit basic at the time. Like, I mean, it was, it took a while to figure out, obviously, and it took a while to beat. I forget, day one was like 18 hours or something. It was a long time. But things have evolved significantly since then, so they may have had to make some tweaks. We know the loot pool at this point. It's all in the database. We know the guns. We know that the armor is pretty much the same. Those do not appear to be unchanged that much to that degree. There are some interesting perks and stuff, whereas before with Vault of Glass, it was it was a different era of the game, so loot has to evolve in some ways, but we'll see how that goes. My main hope for Vault of Glass is kind of going against something that they've already told us. They did say that Vault of Glass is not arriving with a new story. There wasn't a ton of in-game story attached to Vault of Glass in the first place. Destiny 1 vanilla launch is not exactly the greatest storytelling period of the game's history. Keep in mind that was the era when they had to rip out the Joe Staten story a year before launch and re-scramble everything to try and come up with something coherent, and they didn't really come up with anything coherent. That's why the vanilla Destiny 1 story is such a mess, and Vault of Glass has lore attached to it with, the Lost Fire Team and Praedyth and all this stuff. But that was kind of fleshed out in the lore later and was not real. There's no voiceover over the all of Vault of Glass, and I'm not expecting something like that this time around. What I am hoping for is for Vault of Glass to come and have some significance in the story of this season. It would be extremely weird to me to, have Destiny in kind of the best storytelling place it has ever been with what the narrative team is doing with all the voice work and stuff, to have a Vex-focused season, and Vault of Glass is the most iconic piece of Vex content there is, and we are focused on stealing data from the Vex and getting the city out of this endless night, and the fact that this is all leading up to some sort of conflict with Quria, which is not a spoiler because you see her in the initial mission. If you look really fast, that is the Taken Vex mine that works for Savathun, and so I'm not sure if they are behind everything that's going on with the Vex right now, and in turn that means they are being controlled by Savathun. So all of these things added together really seems like that they should figure out some sort of way to integrate Vault of Glass, which is sort of this outside of space and time type experience, into the story to some degree. I am not expecting there to be Ikora narration throughout the whole thing, explaining why we have to go to the Vault of Glass again, and we have to get this object from the vault and whatever this time, and I would have appreciated that. That would have been cool, but I'm not expecting that, and nor am I would love for this to happen and to be really surprised, but I have posited my wild theories on Twitter, how you get to the Atheon throne room and you already see the world's first guardian team taking on Atheon or something. I don't know how that would work mechanically, but that would just be kind of funny. There could be things that explore Praedyth, and you could find him and pull him out of time or whatever's going on with him. And then my idea of Quria showing up and ripping Atheon to shreds, and then the new final boss of Vault of Glass is Quria. These are all like pretty. I understand these are very, very high expectations, and I wouldn't even call them expectations. I would just call them like genie wishes. Like if I could wish for anything, it would be kind of something surprising and transformative, so that we can all kind of be shocked when like the first people get through whatever section in Vault of Glass and make it to some sort of like surprising thing, or something surprising happens after they clear Vault of Glass and some ripple in time or something happens and that unlocks something in the game. That would be very cool to see. I just think it would be a giant kind of waste if Vault of Glass came back during a Vex Focus season when we're doing all this kind of like, there's all these time travel shenanigans and all this stuff going on, and it doesn't have anything to do with the story at all. And like, again, I don't need the Vault itself to be rewritten as a story point, like as a story aspect, but I would love for it to be integrated to the broader events of what's going on in some way. And like the wording of what they said, you could interpret that is possible. Like just because the story of Vault of Glass itself hasn't changed, that doesn't mean it might not touch on the season or might not affect the season. So that is what I'm hoping for. I have not really loved the idea of bringing back Destiny 1 content with no other context to it. I am no problem playing through, Fallen Saber and Devil's Lair again. It's just very weird to like have, 7-year-old dialogue in strikes and have them not kind of integrated into the story at all. Like we saw with the Disgrace and with the Cosmodrome coming back, like those at least had kind of reasons to exist in this current space. Whereas if all the Destiny 1 content that just keeps coming back is just sort of reprised Destiny 1 stuff that with no other additional kind of things adding to it, I don't love that. And so like we could get the Dreadnought back and King's Fall back, but like it would be very strange to have this whole conflict with Savathûn and then just have like the Dreadnought return completely free of story context of Savathûn, and to have King's Fall again and have Oryx there and like not have anything, like just have the whole thing be a giant flashback. And it's just, I've talked about this before, where like Destiny is getting to a weird place where like they're adding a bunch of adding a bunch of Destiny 1 stuff, adding new stuff on top of Destiny 2, but then they keep sunsetting the stuff in the middle. So this gap just keeps getting wider and wider if you're not integrating the Destiny 1 stuff into the current day story. And like Vault of Glass is kind of a prime example of this. Like it's not that I didn't want it to come back without a story component. Like I still think it can be fun, but to me that is something that I would consider important, is to have some sort of integration into the season story, especially given the context of the season. Last season, when they had Devil's Lair and Fallen Saber, those are Fallen-based strikes. They have nothing to do with the Cabal. Like the whole storyline was Cabal-based last season. And so I'm like, okay, I understand like why they couldn't bend over backwards to integrate those two strikes into a Cabal-focused season when the Cabal had nothing to do with that. But like Vault of Glass in a season with a giant Vex threat, come on. So that's my main point. I have some other wishes, like how hard mode, I wish that they would give us the ornaments for the armor, which were really cool. And we know there's something called time lost weapons, which could be sort of adept versions of the raid weapons for hard mode. I'm not sure how that's going to work, but we'll see. But we will deal with that when that arrives later on. So I will be watching this Saturday, probably multiple people, and we'll see who can overcome the new challenges first and get this fake but not really world's first title. But I am looking out for anything having to do with the story itself or anything that changes in the game. So that's where I'm at, and we'll see what happens in a few days now. So thanks for watching, and take care.